What's up guys, my name is Tom, welcome back to another video here for the second episode of my F1 2021 mod career mode as Sebastian Vettel. If you guys haven't watched the previous episode, the first round at the Bahrain Grand Prix, I highly recommend to go check it out before you see this one. But here we are today at the circuit of Barcelona and we'll see what we can do. It was a positive race last episode, finishing in a very solid P4. We'll see what we can do at Barcelona today. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and leave a like, it really motivates me to make more. Make sure to join the family. I'm really excited with this 2021 mod career mode. Shout out to Zerda and Lucas Designs, which are the guys that I'm using in this series. All the links are going to be in the description if you want to try the mod by yourself. But you're going to see that today is not going to be an easy race for us because we're going to start in P17 after a disastrous qualifying spoiled by the rain. But first, strategy wise, you're seeing that we're going to start on the mediums and then switch to the hards. So it's a very straightforward one stop. You can pay a lot of dividends around this track. But like I was saying, we're going to start in a position which is less than desirable. I'm not gonna lie, because we are in an Aston Martin. But here we go to the qualifying highlights. And straight after the garage you can see that we have intermediate conditions, but you can see that the rain is pouring a lot. So it was in the crossover point between the wets and the inters, but I decided to go with the inters, try to get a little bit more comfortable because it's going to get drier and drier as the session goes on. But you can see through the final corner it was just a bank at 130.6. And that's enough at the moment to put us in third place. But these conditions were really tricky for the intermediate, and you're going to see that I'm going to lose a little bit the back end, but it's enough to put us in the gravel trap and ruin our laps completely. So not the best start, really ruining my confidence. So I decided to go to the back to the garage and let the track dry up a little bit and get a little bit of more rubber as well. So I needed to push a lot in this lap in order to make sure that I went into the second phase of qualifying. But you can see that on the last corner I lost the car and a bit of my front wing on the last corner. That was an embarrassing mistake. And that was really unfortunate. I really wanted to get the exit, the best exit as I could, but I was caught on the curb and then slid onto the barriers. Actually, I was pretty surprised when I was driving that I didn't lose one of my wheels, and that would be DNF in this qualifying session. But anyway, I decided to carry on a cool down lap because there's still a lot of time left on the table. The track is improving. I think I could get a good time still with the front wing damage. So we're going to watch my best lap of the session, and then I'm going to hand over to Miles to get a grid rundown.
So let's take a moment and see how the grid will look like for today's race. It's Lewis Hamilton taking pole position, and alongside him will be Max Verstappen. Valtteri Bottas will be third, followed by Sergio Perez. Fernando Alonso at his home race will start fifth alongside Charles Leclerc, followed by Sainz, Ricciardo, Stroll and Norris will round out the top 10. Then it's Ocon and Gasly, followed by Tsunoda and Raikkonen, Mazepin and Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel who will start alongside Giovinazzi, and Russell and Latifi will round out the grid.
And that's the grid for you guys for this Spanish Grand Prix. 33 laps ahead of us, starting way down the order as we see the 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix at Barcelona. And it slides out and away we go. Let's see if we can get a good start against Mick Schumacher. In the second phase he gets a pretty decent run on the half. But look at the start of one of the Williams cars. I think that is George Russell, I should say, as we go into turn 1, and he makes the move as I'm now going around the outside still of Mick Schumacher. Had a little battle at Bahrain as the two Mercedes are are going side by side, and we are side by side. We are competitive around the outside. We go through the long turn 3, and we manage to make a move, and they are up into P17 as these guys are super slow. George Russell and Nikita Mazepin, as I'm trying to get a good traction against the Williams, which we do so, and down inside we go off the Williams, but I'm going to back out of that because he still has to manage that Haas, and I want to get any front wing damage in the early stages of the race because we have a huge mountain to climb if you want to score some solid points. So we're going to be a little bit patient. It is a long race. We're going to perform the one stop, so we might finish ahead of one of the two stoppers. Down inside we go through Kamsa on Nikita Mazepin. Drag race now as we head into the head, but this is going to be a fantastic move on the Russian, that much inferior us, and we might have the grip to go run outside of George Russell, and here we go. He doesn't have that much grip because of that left-hander, which if you hit that car you're going to unsettle the car, so that makes things easy for us, and that's us up into P15, so already gaining some positions off the start, and that's what we want to do. And I think it's not going to be much of a problem to dispatch these guys that are on the mediums, the likes of the Alfa Romeos, the Hasses and the Williamses, so hopefully we can move forward pretty nicely as we're getting a nice slipstream of Kimi Räikkönen gaining and gaining. I don't want to waste that much ERS with these guys, so we're going to try to be brave on the brakes, which we do. So run inside, we go through the first corner, stepping a little bit on the curb, but we lost the car, we spun round, and we're going to be in last place of this Grand Prix. We, as Sebastian Vettel, spin round at the beginning of lap 2. This is disaster after a disastrous qualifying. We are round on the second lap of the Grand Prix, and we are dead last. This is an absolute calamity as we are watching replay, and that was 100% my fault. No contact whatsoever with Räikkönen. I just lost on my own. I stepped too much on the curb. I was too eager on the throttle, and the rest is just see by yourself. That was really unfortunate. Now we have to overtake these guys once again. We were in a very good strategy on the one stop, and you can see that we go round and round, and I have to lift my hand. That was 100% my fault, as now we're going to watch Räikkönen's POV, and you're going to see that there was no contact whatsoever. So I tried to go around the outside, and I had to be a little bit brave, but I was too brave, and that curb then stopped the car, unfortunately. As now we're watching George Russell on board POV, just to see that it wasn't that close to be, contact, to be a T-bone crash, but you can see that he still slammed a little bit on the brakes of that Williams. But anyway, we skip all the way onto lap 4. Just a couple of laps later, we are starting to get closer to Nicholas Diffie. Look at the traction, look at the grip, look at everything that we are superior against these Williams. Are we going to dare to go down inside? Oh, it just about closes the door just enough to remain in the second last. So we have to wait for the DRS zone, but that was really close with the Canadian. But hopefully we can get a good run through Kamsa and open the DRS and be an easy move. Look at the speed difference that we managed to carry through Kamsa as we open the DRS slipstream, and I think this is going to be much it. It doesn't have any chance whatsoever in that Williams run. Inside we go through the hairpin, and that's us into second last, but that is really frustrating. We are in a very good strategy. The one stop can pay a lot of dividends around this track, and we managed to ruin a little bit our race. It is a long race, but things are going to be really hard for us because everyone is going to be more spread out at this stage of the race as we get a good run on Giovinazzi slipstream, and is going to be a copycat move of what we did on Latifi on the previous lap. Run outside we go, and who's going to be better on the traction? Unsurprisingly is going to be us, and that's us into 18th place, just 18th place on lap 5. That is a little bit sad to see because we are on Aston Martin, but anyway, still on the same lap. We're going to re-overtake Mick Schumacher. Doesn't have any chance at the moment behind Nikita Mazepin. So Mazepin so far this season is performing better than Schumacher. That is quite unusual to see, but that's the beauty of an F1 game, I can say. But anyway, this is the first place of the medium runners. It is Yuki Tsunoda, so watch out for Tsunoda and the guys like Alonso. These guys might be a huge threat when it comes to a very solid top 5 finish. Tsunoda performed really well on the first race. He tried to perform the one stop at Bahrain, which pays a lot of dividends, but he didn't manage to score points. So, but maybe it can be the day that the Japanese can score his first points in this 2021 season mod. And as well, Fernando Alonso, it's been a frustrating start for the Spaniard. Hopefully he can score solid points at his home Grand Prix. Anyway, we are up into to pit well for the time being because the soft runners are starting to pit, and you can see Valtteri Bottas, and I think we are ahead of Max Verstappen, and Bottas is going to be passed by George Russell. This is not very good news because Hamilton is going to stay out probably for 1 or 2 laps, and Bottas is going to lose time with the Williams guys. We get a good run on Mazepin, and down the inside we go. Look at the speed difference and the downforce difference that we managed to carry through 10-3 is outrageous to see the pace difference against the Aston Martin and the Haas, which is the worst car on the grid. But anyway, Bottas is getting really close to George Russell, but he doesn't seem to get a move for the time being. You can see how much time that he's losing to the Williams, and this is playing indeed in Hamilton's hands to get the second win of the season, as Bottas now is going to open the DRS and is going to try to go run outside. So it seems that the happen is showing to be a good place for overtaking today, as Bottas round outside goes once again off the Williams, and he should make the move done and dusted. And now is our time to overtake Russell. Let's take a chance that we have already the DRS and overtake these Williams as quick as he can. And you can see that Verstappen is losing a lot of time with Mazepin, but sooner rather than later he's going to have the precious DRS and he's going to dispatch us in any time soon. But anyway, through the final corner we go. We're going to have the DRS available. I think Russell is going to have the DRS as well. No, he doesn't. So just to see how much time in the space of a sector that he lost time to Bottas. And here we go, as we are getting now really close to one of the Mercedes. It is Hamilton, so Bottas remains in the lead of the race, and round the outside we go of Hamilton, and that's us into P6, but this should be virtually still outside of the top 10. So just see how big the mountain that we have to climb. Hamilton was behind me for just 1 lap, but then I decided to let him go and not to defend that, because let's be honest, we are in a very different race. So I took a chance to save some ERS and some fuel, which might be precious for the last laps of the race. We don't know, maybe a safety car can save us, as Bottas goes down the inside of Raikkonen, and it should be a pretty easy move. This race now this is a very important stage of the race for the front runners, the guys that are performing the 2-stop, because they need to make this move, dispatch the guys that are in a different race on the 1-stop, the back mark especially, in order to not lose time to the front medium runners, should say, the likes of Tsunoda and Alonso. And there is Hamilton now. It's time for Hamilton to overtake Raikkonen. We have some yellow flags, so it seems that someone is slowing down. Down inside we go of Raikkonen, so we have a Mercedes pulling to the side of the track. It is Bottas. Bottas was leading the race, not anymore. Bottas is out of the Spanish Grand Prix. Total drama for Valtteri Bottas, which was trying, and it was looking so good to get his first win of the season, but that Mercedes Pavilion decided to give up, and that's Bottas's race over. And we have a safety car. The safety car has been deployed, and I'm going to take this chance to already pit. I think we're going to pit like 5 laps earlier, but this is golden for us. We are back in this race, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to do this stop and we don't have to go to the pits anymore in this race. So this is going to play really on our hands. So thank you, Valtteri Bottas, for triggering this safety car. And here we go. We dressed a brand new set of hard tires, and we don't have to stop anymore in this race. And for good measure, we jump Raikkonen, so that is even better. So anyway, let's see where this is going to put us. We've been jumped by Norris and our teammate, and the 2 Ferraris. Basically the guys that started on the mediums, the lights of Tsunoda as well. So it is Hamilton, Verstappen, and then one of the AlphaTauris, which it is Yuki Tsunoda that already made his first stop. So this is playing a lot as well in the hands of the 2-stop. But at the moment, the only driver that is on the harder comparative tire is myself as Vettel. So this can play really on our hands, because sooner or later these guys have to pit. I don't say that we might get the lead of the race. It will depend how much time that we're going to lose in this restart, as we're getting really close to Lando Norris, trying to get the best restart as I can. Raikkonen behind us is on the soft tires, so very interesting choice from Alfa Romeo. But all the guys that are ahead of us are on the medium comparative tires, so it's going to be a little bit hard to follow these guys as this Grand Prix gets underway once again. And we have 20 laps to go, and we had a terrible exit through the last corner, cold tires, and this is going to allow Raikkonen to get a drag race with us, as I'm deploying a lot of ERS in order to get to remain ahead of the Alfa Romeo. And we managed to push him very aggressively into the first corner, just to make sure that we don't lose time, because we are in a different race. Raikkonen might be faster than us on the softest comparative tire, but I'll skip a little some laps forward. You can see that we're already pulling away Raikkonen. So just see, even on the soft tires, the Aston Martin is beast of the car against the Alfa Romeo. Anyway, we are on the DRS train, thankfully, so we're not losing that much. We're keeping with this train, which I really want. We are in a very good chance to score some good points, maybe a podium, we don't know, because Bottas points out of the race, so it's going to be much about Hamilton and Verstappen finishing on the podium. Final step of the podium, it is a huge question mark at the moment, as some of the guys are pulling into the pit as well. Lando Norris, you can see that was ahead of us, not anymore, because he's making his second and final stop of the day as well for Verstappen, which is fitting the hard side, so Red Bull doesn't think that can carry another set of mediums till the end of the race, and we're getting really close to these guys, and I think we might be in the lead of the race, but the question is, how much seconds are we going to be ahead of Lewis Hamilton? Is a huge question mark at the moment, but we are in a very good chance at least to score a podium. I think the podium is almost guaranteed, so look how the table stand in this Grand Prix after a very frustrating qualifying and that being round on the second lap of the Grand Prix. And there is Sergio Perez pulling into the pits as well. Hamilton that fitted the medium comparative tires, and as things stand, we are virtually leading this Grand Prix. I think the only one that stayed out but is going to pit sooner rather than later is Carlos Sainz. So we are in second place at the moment. There he is, your race leader at the moment, Carlos Sainz, in front of his home crowd, leading the Grand Prix. So it's actually pretty nice to see Sainz after a very frustrating start of the season, after losing a front wing on the first lap and then having an engine failure. So it's not been the best of the start for the Spaniard in his new adventure with Ferrari, but hopefully he can start to score some consistent points and getting a good result at his home Grand Prix. But this man is chasing us, followed by Max Verstappen, and then in fourth place we have Yuki Tsunoda, but he has still some gap, but he's on the medium comparative, but I think it should be enough at least to finish ahead of this train, which is being led at the moment by the Japanese. By huge worry right now is the tire wear. I don't know if I can carry these hard tires in in an optimal pace. It will depend, but you can see we skip all the way forward onto lap 23. We still lead the race, and you can see that in the minimap we don't see Hamilton, so we have a big gap to Hamilton, but on lap 25 he's starting to close pretty rapidly, so we are in the position that we can get our first race win, but we have a Mercedes behind in a softer comparative tire, so I don't say that we can win this race, but it's going to be really hard because Hamilton is Hamilton, Mercedes is Mercedes, and it is much faster comparative tires. So lap 28, Hamilton is starting to get closer and closer thanks to that Mercedes power. Is he going to try to go down inside through the first corner? No, he's going to stay out in second place. He has plenty of time to overtake us, but I'm going to do everything in my power to defend this position. And we have actually a big gap to Verstappen, so we are in a very good chance to maybe finish in second place and get at least our first podium in this career mode. But the Hamilton is going to try to go down inside. I managed to cover that very aggressively, switching to the right hand side of the track, and we remain ahead in first place against Lewis Hamilton. But the Hamilton is going to get a good run down inside. We go side by side, third and free. I run a little bit wide, and Hamilton took the chance as we go side by side, third and four, and the Hamilton gets the lead of the Grand Prix. And I tried everything, but I was too aggressive, and maybe I forged too much the tires. I went a little bit deep into turn 3. I ran into the tire marbles, and that was enough to the Brit to get the lead of the Grand Prix. But we're going to watch his POV. Look how aggressive I was in the defending. That was really close to end up in tears, but I had to. He's for the lead of the race. We have the pace. I've been holding Hamilton from some laps, so maybe sooner or later his mediums are going to start to fade away a little bit, but you can see he just found that gap, thread and needle, and it was absolutely worth it because he took the lead, and what a way to take the lead of the race. Epic stuff at the moment. Remember that we were in last place at the end, at the beginning of lap 2, so just to see how epic this comeback drive is being at the moment. We have some side-by-side action between Alonso and Leclerc. I think this is for 7th place, so we're going to see Alonso and Carlos Sainz scoring his first points of the season at the first race, and Alonso gets through and gets up into 7th place. But anyway, we're going to start our last lap of the Grand Prix, and you can see that actually we are pretty close to Hamilton, so maybe I'm feeling that we have some ERS to deploy, but you can see Verstappen is getting really close as well, but we have the DRS rich mix, and we're gaining and gaining on the Hamilton. We might have a chance to take the lead of the Grand Prix as we have 0% of ERS. Run inside, we go through the first corner. This is for the lead of the race on the last lap, but the Hamilton gets a good traction on the inside, but he brake checks a little bit. Third and free, and look at the Verstappen go. He's going to take second place, and look at him go, trying to go on the inside to take the lead of the Grand Prix. This is absolutely fantastic stuff on the last lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, but Verstappen doesn't have enough grip to take the lead of the Grand Prix, and we are down in top 3-3. What is this race? We performed the one two-stop strategy to absolute perfection after a terrible qualifying and after being rounded in last place in the beginning of the second lap of the race. As well, lost a little bit the back end because I have the feeling that maybe I can take this second place, but the opportunities are running out and the gap is too large, and I think that's going to be pretty much it. Hamilton is most likely that he's going to win the Grand Prix, followed by Verstappen, and then myself. I tried everything that I could to win this Grand Prix, but unfortunately it's not enough. Maybe our first race win is going to be in store for us in the future episode time. Today is not the day. Today is Lewis Hamilton's day after an epic battle with me and an epic last-minute attempt of Verstappen to take the lead of the Grand Prix. But what a race it was, and it is just the second one. Here we go across the line, and this is, ladies and gentlemen, the first podium of the season.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race. What do you think it was, Ants, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Lewis Hamilton, 2 wins in a row. Bottas' DNF made things really easy for the Brit. But anyway, what a win from the Brit. He had to sweat really hard in order to catch me and then defend for me and Verstappen on the last lap. Maybe one of the best races that I've ever driven. I'm not gonna lie, it was a banger of a comeback. And let me say, I gave everything that I could on this last lap, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. And let's be honest, it is an Aston Martin. It's not the best car on the grid, but we're going to watch Verstappen's POV. You can see that Hamilton brake checked me a little bit into turn 3, so he was a little bit salty, and Verstappen managed to find that gap and tried to go down inside, but he was on the tire marble, so I won't say that was made him lose and not have enough grip to get that win. But anyway, what a race it was, guys. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Monaco Grand Prix is coming. It is in the next episode. What is going to be in store for us at one of the jewels of the calendar at the streets of the Principality? But there you have it. Confirmation results. Lewis Hamilton wins the Grand Prix, followed by Verstappen, then myself. Yuki Tsunoda, after starting in P13, managed to score his first points of the season. What in a way, performing that two-stop strategy to absolute perfection, followed by Ocon, Perez, Alonso and Sainz managed to score his first point of the season with Leclerc in the middle of them. Then Ricciardo Stroll just about outside of the points, so that is not a very good day for Aston Martin in general. Pierre Gasly, Lando Norris and Kimi Raikkonen outside of the points as well for the remaining ones. Nikita Mazepin once again ahead of Mick Schumacher. That is really weird to say. Giovinazzi, Russell, Latifi and Bottas was the only DNF of the Grand Prix Championship standings. Hamilton extended his lead and now is 14 points ahead of Verstappen with Vettel, myself as Vettel with 27 points. Ocon now ahead of Bottas thanks to that DNF. Tsunoda in 6th place, followed by Perez, Gasly, Stroll and Alonso outside of the top 10. And then outside of the top 10 we have Daniel Ricciardo, Leclerc, Norris and Sainz, so the Ferrari is way down the order, and still the Alfa Romeos, the Haas and the Williamses yet to score some points. Finally, in the constructor standings, it is Mercedes leading by 20 points, followed by Red Bull, Aston Martin, Alpine, AlphaTauri and McLaren with just 1 digit scoring at the moment, as well for Ferrari. And like I said, Alfa Romeo, Haas and Williams still yet to score some points. But guys, that has been round 2 of my F1 2021 career mode as Sebastian Vettel. I hope you guys enjoyed. What a race it was. I can't wait to see what is going to be in store for us in the next race, which is going to be the Monaco Grand Prix. But till then, make sure to take care and I'll see you guys on a brand new video next time.